Coming up on a bonus episode of Hip Hop Now podcast, it is the best recommendations I have for you for October 2025. The best, not all of them. Let's do it.
Welcome to Hip Hop Now podcast. If you're from the future, you know what to do. Get your ass out of here. Don't disrespect the legend. Hip hop is here to stay. Let's get right into the business.
What up, y'all? I am your host, Vegas, and this is Hip Hop Now podcast, a podcast specifically designed to keep you caught up on all things hip hop, music, and culture that happen throughout the week. This is a special bonus episode and a regular series that I want to do definitely be consistent with in the year 2026. Something I had planned, couldn't do it because of, life and other things. But I want to be consistent with it because it's a way for you, the hip hop fan, the music fan, to stay locked in. So first and foremost, big shout out to those listening in audio form, whether it be Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast listening. And those right here on YouTube, Hip Hop Now Pod, who subscribe to the channel, who like the videos, keep doing what you're doing. Also, I read the comments, whether they're good, bad, flattering, whatever. I don't care. I enjoy the engagement. You took time out of your life to comment. So I don't care what it is, to be honest, unless you're just being disrespectful to people in the comments. Then you got to go. But we don't have that over here, which is great. So the goal is to get to 25,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. We still got some weeks to go. We're right around 21K. So good. So if you like this kind of content, this conversation about hip hop, recommendations for albums, because you're like, yo, a bunch of albums keep releasing. I don't know what's good. I don't know what's what. I don't know who dropped. This is the episode for you. So let's get right into the business. October 2025 was similar to July. I think it was August, my bad. August of 2025, because a lot of albums dropped. A lot of albums dropped on Halloween alone. That doesn't make them all good. So if you would like to know what I thought about the other months, I made one full video that just goes over each month and the albums that I was able to listen to that I thought were the standouts of the month. So here are the standouts for October 2025. First up, a complete obvious as far as one of the best albums released in October, Mobb Deep's Infinite, man. Like, more than we could have asked for as Mobb Deep fans that liked it, right? Those that liked it. Everything from Prodigy's verses feeling like he was there to record this entire album with Havoc and Alchemist, to the nods of notification, not notification, but, well, I guess for some, that, Prodigy is no longer with us. But it felt less like a reminder that he wasn't here, and more like it was a nice touch kind of thing. Like, see you on the other side. It just felt like, oh, it's okay. He's no longer here. It's sad and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, this is why we listened to Mobb Deep throughout the years. This is why we loved Prodigy. And this album, Infinite, doesn't dwell on that either. It's straight up Mobb Deep. The way you know them, the way you love them. Like, Big Noid is on the album, all that stuff. So Nas, of course, great album, hardcore hip hop at its finest, and a great send off, because I assume this is the last Mobb Deep album we'll ever get. A perfect send off for one of hip hop's legendary groups. Also, a dope record that was released, Hit Boy and Alchemist, Goldfish. Now, Hippo and Alchemist had been teasing these types of collaborations for the last few years, right? When they did that one joint, damn, I can't remember the name of the song now. Slipping into Darkness, right? Where they both had beats as a beat switch up, but Hitman's rapping, Hit Boy's rapping over Alchemist beat, and Alchemist is rapping over Hit Boy beat, and I was like, this is dope because first of all, the beats they had were dope in that song, and then they're not like super bar kings or nothing like that. Like, so you're not going to be like, yo, what Alchemist said was crazy. Like, you may have a few moments like that, but that's not why you come to listen to these guys. And I feel like with the album Goldfish and that EP they released, I believe, like last year or so, which was really dope, but short because it was a real EP, right? Like 4 songs. I feel like this album carries on the tradition of their collaboration. And again, as MCs, they're serviceable. I think of their types of raps being the same reasons why, mainly Alchemists in this case, same reasons why people like a Boldy James or even a Rock Marcy, right? It's the flow. I'm not trying to say he better than Rock Marcy. I'm just saying it's the flow. Alchemist's flow reminds me a lot of Rock Marciano's flow. Um, and Hit Boy, he says things that you could either relate to or you don't, but all of it together just sounds cool, interesting to an extent. And I thought, I was listening to it. I felt like if I'm listening to an album more than I have to, it must be good, right? I'm not forcing myself to listen to this album. I'm like, yo, this album's cool. I like it. It's cool. So there you have it. Another album, Ruben Vincent and Ninth Wonder, Welcome Home. This album's great. From the first time hearing the Albie Shore flip on what I think was their lead single, I think it's called Go Get It, to hearing another track and another track, and then finally the album drops, and I'm like, I had to shout out to Ock. I had to text Ockens the album and say, yo, you need to check this out because this is the types of albums we miss, or the types of albums we praise other bigger artists like Kendrick for and stuff like that, because at one point albums became about a bunch of hit singles, or at least trying to make a bunch of hit singles. And there's some albums that are great for that, and that's the purpose. And it doesn't have to be any other way if it works. But then there are those albums that feel like experiences or journeys or introduction to an artist. In this case, for me, that tells you what you need to know about them, and really not being able to predict what you're going to hear from Ninth, from Ruben Vincent. And by the end, it just felt like, yo, this is a well put together album with some dope beats, thoughtful rhymes. Again, everything's not a bar fest. Everybody's not trying to be the greatest spitter ever. Some people are artists, right? They write with their pen. They could probably do the freestyle and give you all those bars too, but they're bigger artists than just that. And there's no issues with being a bar king versus somebody who can create a great album. But this Welcome Home album, I had no expectations, and I didn't even know what it was about, to be honest. And even though I'm not even from these parts, like from North Carolina and all that, I assume Ruben Vincent is from North Carolina. I think, yeah, I believe he says so. That it was relatable, the welcome home part, whether you coming home from college, the military, prison, being away just because you went away. There's something about that welcome home vibe that I feel like they captured in this album with the skits, which are small, but they work within the confines of the songs and the album concept. But great album. Honestly, to me, one of the best of the year. We almost over. So, if I said that, it's a good chance it'll still be there by the end of this year. So we'll see. Also released Chic Luch, Gorilla Ween 8 or 7. Let's look real quick because first of all, I didn't know there was that many. Obviously, it's up on the screen because that's how the future works. You find out later, then you just place it there. Gorilla Ween 7. I said 8, but I'm in the future. But I can tell you this right now. I might have heard only one of these joints previously. Not that I don't like Chic Luch as a rapper. I think he's criminally slept on in the Locks, but Locks fans know. We know they all can spit. I don't know if you've heard all the Gorilla Weens from. I really hate the name. I ain't gonna lie. From Chic Luch. Please put your critique of this album or this project versus the other entries in the series, because I don't really have a point of reference to say it's the best, but I can tell you this much. It's one of the best of October because Chic Luch can rap, obviously. A lot of the reasons why you like a Griselda and all of that, that was the Locks before them. Before Griselda, it was the Locks. So Griselda is responsible for bringing boom bap back to the forefront, but they are not the fathers of it, obviously, and neither are the Locks in a lot of ways. But um, they're more related to the Locks than you would think, in regards to the 3-man crew type situation. But Chic Luch on this album, the rhymes are there. It's hardcore raps, and I love his beat selection. I mean, I think for some rappers that could be a difference maker. Some guy like for example, Lloyd Banks. He released another entry into his Halloween Havoc series. And I ain't gonna lie, I really don't like it. I like his album that he released earlier this year more than that. And it's not because he fell off or he can't rap. I just feel like when Lloyd Banks has really dope beats, not just boom bap beats that you can get into, but I mean it has to be like some really dope production that's more vibrant than he comes across. I think that's when he's at his best. And I feel like with Chic Luch, he kind of has that energy. He's not monotone. So when he has great production, it's even better. You know what I'm saying? And not to compare the two, but one's in my best of October and one isn't. And they both got Halloween themes. So there you have it. Halloween Havoc 3. I think that's my favorite. I ain't gonna lie. Two more. Mick Jenkins and Emil and Murder of Crows. This was an album that I didn't listen to when it dropped. Shout out to Dead End Hip Hop. I think they did the best of the month, I guess. I forget what video it was, but they mentioned it. I had listened to Mick Jenkins projects in the past. Didn't really get a chance to get to this one, but because of how it was talked about, I was like, yo, I should probably at least put an ear to it. And it's a really good album. It's a really good album. Mick Jenkins is not going to cheat you if you need more than the usual rapper rhetoric, right? When it comes to me as a fan, trust me, I'm not choosing sides. You look at my catalog of music, there's going to be songs you like, and then there's going to be songs this person may like, and you may dislike, and that person may dislike, because I'm not listening and liking everything. Obviously not. If I could say I didn't really care for the Slick Rick project, I love Slick Rick. But I love variety in hip hop, and I love artists that can be more than just the typical rapper, right? They rap with substance. They talk about things that happen to all of us every day in our lives that we experience, that most rappers never talk about. I just did a review on that Tupac book, talked a little bit about Brenda's Got a Baby, and one of the reasons why Tupac captivated me as a fan with that video and that song was because that's not like a new story, especially for back then. It just wasn't a new type of story, but the fact that a rapper hadn't, at least on a mainstream level, because I don't know about somebody from around your way who had a similar song before Tupac. We don't know him, fam. We don't know him. Okay? Congrats to him, but we don't know him. But on a mainstream level, Tupac did that. And it was one of those things where I was like, wow, I didn't even think rappers could rap about this type of stuff. It just never dawned on me. And Tupac did it masterfully. So I feel the same way when it comes to Mick Jenkins and this album. Not that everything is that deep, but if you're familiar with his music, it's going to be more than braggadocious raps, yo, check out my bars, or crime stories, which are more so par for the course for most rappers today and for a while. Like, let's not pretend it's new. And the last one originally wasn't going to be on this list, but I listened again, then I listened again. And even though I feel like Hills Have Eyes 2 is the best in the series, Hills Have Eyes 3 is not that bad. I'd say for 2025, when it comes to Westside Gunn, who has released, I think he's released 4 or 5 projects, maybe closer to 4. Hills Have Eyes 2 and 3 and 12 are the best. And 12 I have in my best of the year. And Hills Have Eyes 2, it's almost like I'm feeling some kind of way, like I need to put it in my top 10 or top 15 or whatever. But Hills Have Eyes 3, I think, continues the momentum of the second entry. It's not as good, but at least that momentum is there. Why I say it's not as good is just because it reminds me, it's closer to Hills Have Eyes 1, which was extremely short. This project is a little bit longer than that. It features like Benny the Butcher. I was going to say Beanie Siegel. Benny the Butcher is on there, and Stove God is there, of course. Is Bodie James there? I don't know. I don't think so. But in general, Rome Streets is there. That's what I was thinking of. It's a dope project. The only thing is, and obviously I recommend it if you like Westside Gunn and if you liked the projects he's released this year, this is another one you would enjoy. But the only reason why like some of these albums will not make my best of the year is because there's a lot of albums to compete. And there was a lot released in October that's not on my recommendations from some of my favorite artists. Does it mean I'm not listening? No. It just means that I didn't feel like amongst the ones that I really liked, those projects met the standard for me. What were some of the best albums of October 2025 for you? Leave them down in the comments. I definitely check comments, and especially if you know of an album, even just through the year, an album that you like, yo, I think you need to check this one out because I think it's one of the best of the year. Chances are maybe I didn't even hear it. You know what I'm saying? And especially if I see a reoccurring theme of a specific album that it seems like everybody heard and likes, I'll go check it out because I'm not one of those guys who needs to be prepped. If something's dope and enough people are saying it's dope, I'm going to go see why. So there you have it. Subscribe to the channel if you love this video. Hit the like button if you like this video. Comment, as always, review on Apple Podcasts for audio form. But most importantly, become a member if you want to, support this channel and have access to early content. But all the information about that is in the description of this episode. But share it. Share this podcast. Share the episodes you like. Share the moments you like from some of these episodes I have on the channel. I have a number of videos about different content with hip hop, and then I have my weekly show. And there are people just like you and me that love hip hop, that love talking hip hop, that want to stay away from any of the gossip, and just kind of want to get into the music. Share it with those people. Share it in those platforms, whether it be Reddit or Discord or somewhere else where like, yo, we over here talking hip hop like this. Check this video out. That is one of the greatest ways you can support this podcast without even spending a dime. All right. So till next time, y'all, I'm not a critic. I'm a fan. Peace.